Based on the historical data and forecast, Bitcoin exhibits an overall upward trend, consistently bouncing off the support price of 82,300 and testing the resistance around 87,400. The RSI values hover between 33.9 and 53.2, indicating periods of both oversold and overbought conditions. The Bollinger Bands show periods of contraction and expansion, suggesting potential volatility. My strategy will be a combination of RSI and Bollinger Bands. First, I will look for opportunities to buy when the RSI falls below 30, considering it an oversold condition. For example, on April 7, 2025, the RSI was 38.4, which is not an oversold condition, but I will wait for the RSI to drop below 30. When the RSI drops below 30, I will enter a long position at 82,300 plus 100 is equal to 82,400. I will set a stop-loss order at 82,000 to limit potential losses. The initial target price will be the resistance level of 87,400. Considering the forecast data, the price is expected to fluctuate between 84,000 and 86,000. I will adjust my strategy accordingly. If the price approaches the upper Bollinger Band, I will consider taking profits or tightening the stop-loss. For instance, if the price reaches 86,000, which is near the upper Bollinger Band, I will move the stop-loss to 85,000. If the price breaks through the resistance of 87,400, I will increase the target price to 88,000. Conversely, if the price falls below the lower Bollinger Band, indicating a potential breakdown, I will exit the long position and reevaluate the market. This dynamic approach, combining RSI signals with Bollinger Band analysis, aims to capture significant price movements while mitigating risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Ethereum shows a fluctuating trend with a strong support level at $1,520. The RSI consistently remains below 42, indicating oversold conditions for a significant portion of the observed period. Considering the forecast for the next week, the price is expected to remain around $1,520 initially, with potential dips to $1,480. The Bollinger Bands indicate periods of volatility, with the price frequently touching the lower band. Therefore, I recommend a strategy focused on capitalizing on the oversold conditions and potential upward bounces. My recommended strategy is to initiate a long position when the RSI falls below 30. Specifically, enter a long position at $1,520. Place a stop-loss order at $1,480 to protect against potential downside risks. Set a target price at $1,610, aiming to capture a significant portion of the upward movement. This strategy combines the RSI oversold signal with the support level of $1,520, while the stop-loss order helps to limit potential losses. The target price of $1,610 is chosen based on the historical resistance levels and the potential for price appreciation following an oversold condition. Based on the historical data and forecast, XRP shows a slight upward trend, supported by the recent price action and the projected values for the next week. The RSI consistently remains below 50, indicating a generally oversold condition, particularly around 31.4 on April 8, 2025. The Bollinger Bands indicate periods of volatility, with the price occasionally touching the lower band, suggesting potential buying opportunities. Considering these factors, I recommend a strategy focused on capitalizing on short-term bounces while managing risk effectively. My proposed strategy involves a tiered approach utilizing RSI and Bollinger Bands. Firstly, initiate a long position at $2, coinciding with the forecast price on April 21, 2025, and the lower Bollinger Band. Set a stop-loss at $1.95, just below the recent support level and the bottom of the Bollinger Band, to limit potential losses. Aim for a target price of $2.2, aligning with the center of the Bollinger Bands and a reasonable profit margin. If the RSI rises above 60, consider taking partial profits at $2.1 to secure gains. This approach combines technical indicators for a balanced risk-reward profile, suitable for a high-return investment. Based on the historical data and forecast, BNB shows a slight upward trend, with the price fluctuating between the support level of $553 and the resistance level of $602. The RSI indicates that the asset is currently in an oversold condition, hovering around 34.9 to 50.5. Considering this, I recommend a long-term strategy focusing on capitalizing on the potential upward movement. The Bollinger Band suggests that the price is currently near the lower band, indicating a possible rebound. Therefore, I propose entering a long position at $581, placing a stop-loss order at $553 to mitigate potential losses if the price declines further. The target price for this long position will be $596, aligning with the forecast price and the resistance level. To refine this strategy, we can incorporate the RSI. If the RSI crosses above 60, consider taking partial profits at $591. This approach balances risk and reward, capitalizing on the anticipated upward trend while incorporating technical indicators for enhanced decision-making. This portfolio combines the strengths of trend analysis, support and resistance levels, and technical indicators for a robust and potentially high-return investment strategy. Based on the historical data and forecast, Solana exhibits a clear uptrend. The price has consistently tested and held above the $132 support level, and the forecast indicates continued upward momentum, reaching $142. The RSI values, while fluctuating, generally remain below 80, suggesting the asset isn't overbought. Considering the Bollinger Bands, the price is currently near the upper band, indicating potential for a pullback, but the forecast suggests a continuation of the upward trend. Therefore, I recommend a long position with an entry price of $132. A stop loss should be placed at $129 to protect against a potential short-term decline. The initial target price is $137, aligning with the recent resistance level, but with the positive forecast, we can extend the target to $142. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate an RSI-based adjustment. If the RSI reaches 80, consider taking partial profits at $137 and tightening the stop loss to $134. Conversely, if the RSI dips below 20, which hasn't occurred in the historical data, we would consider a small contrarian position at $106 with a tight stop loss at $103 and a target of $112. The core strategy remains a long position at $132, stop loss at $129, and a target of $142, capitalizing on the prevailing upward trend and positive forecast. Based on the historical data and forecast, TRON exhibits a slight upward trend, consolidating within the 0.239 to 0.25 resistance range. The RSI consistently hovers around the 50 to 60 range, indicating neither strong overbought nor oversold conditions. The Bollinger Band suggests that the price is currently near the middle band, with potential for upward movement if it breaks above the upper band. Considering these factors, I propose a moderately bullish strategy. We will enter a long position at $0.243, placing a stop-loss order at $0.239, just below the support level to limit potential losses. The initial target price will be $0.25, the resistance level. To refine this strategy, we will incorporate RSI signals. If the RSI drops below 30, signaling an oversold condition, we will enter a long position at $0.239, setting a stop loss at $0.236 and a target price at $0.247. Conversely, if the RSI exceeds 70, indicating an overbought scenario, we will consider a short position at $0.25, with a stop loss at $0.253 and a target price at $0.244. The forecast data suggests stability around $0.244, reinforcing the $0.25 resistance as a key level. This blended approach, combining trend analysis, RSI signals, and Bollinger Band indicators, aims to maximize returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Dogecoin demonstrates a sideways trend with periods of consolidation. The RSI values consistently hover between 32.8 and 48.8, indicating neither strong overbought nor oversold conditions. The Bollinger Bands show the price fluctuating within a defined range, with the forecast prices suggesting continued sideways movement around $0.15. Considering the support price of $0.154, I recommend a long position strategy. The entry price should be $0.15, coinciding with the initial forecast price. To mitigate risk, set a stop loss at $0.148, just below the lower Bollinger Band and slightly below the recent low. A target price of $0.165 is set, aligning with the middle of the Bollinger Bands and providing a reasonable profit margin. To enhance the strategy, incorporate RSI signals. If the price dips to $0.15 and the RSI falls below 30, consider entering a long position. The stop loss should be set at $0.145 and the target price at $0.17. If the price reaches $0.152 and the RSI exceeds 70, consider exiting the long position. This combined approach leverages both Bollinger Bands and RSI to optimize entry, stop loss, and target prices, aiming for high returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Cardano shows a slight downward trend in the short term, with the forecast prices consistently below the recent closing prices. The RSI consistently remains below 50, indicating a generally weak momentum, but has been fluctuating around the 40s, suggesting potential for a rebound. The Bollinger Bands show that the price has been trading within the bands, and the bottom band is near the support price of $0.61. Considering the support price of $0.61 and the RSI readings, I recommend a long position with an entry price of $0.586. Place a stop-loss order at $0.556, just below the lower Bollinger Band and support level, to limit potential losses. Set a target price of $0.659, which aligns with the recent resistance level, aiming for a profit of $0.073. To enhance the strategy, I will incorporate a dynamic adjustment based on the RSI. If the price reaches the target price of $0.659 and the RSI exceeds 70, consider taking profits and exiting the position. Conversely, if the RSI falls below 30 while in the trade, reevaluate the trend and consider adjusting the stop loss or exiting the position to minimize losses. This blended strategy, combining support and resistance levels with RSI signals and Bollinger Bands, aims to capitalize on short-term price fluctuations while managing risk effectively. The portfolio will prioritize this long position due to the potential for a rebound from the support level and the relatively low risk associated with the defined stop loss. Based on the historical data and forecast, Chainlink exhibits an upward trend with support at $12.2 and resistance at $13.4. The RSI consistently remains below 52, indicating that the asset is not currently overbought. The Bollinger Bands have been narrowing recently, suggesting a period of consolidation before a potential breakout. Considering this, I recommend a long position strategy. We will enter a long position when the RSI falls below 30, targeting a price of $13.3. The entry price will be $12.6. The stop loss will be set at $12.2 to protect against potential downside risk. To maximize returns, we will use a tiered target strategy. The initial target price is $13.3, offering a profit of $0.7. If the price reaches $13.3, we will move the stop loss to break even at $12.6, securing the initial profit. If the price continues to rise, the second target price will be $13.4, yielding a profit of $0.8. This strategy combines RSI and Bollinger Bands to identify optimal entry points and manage risk effectively, aiming for high returns while protecting capital. Based on the historical data and forecast, Avalanche shows an overall upward trend, with the price fluctuating between the support of $18.7 and the resistance of $19.9. The RSI indicator has been mostly between 38.3 and 55.7, suggesting neither strong overbought nor oversold conditions. Considering the forecast for the next week, the price is expected to rise from $19.2 to $20.3 before slightly decreasing to $19.9. Combining the RSI and Bollinger Bands, a potential strategy is to enter a long position when the RSI dips below 38 and the price touches the lower Bollinger Band. This presents a buying opportunity near $18.6 with a stop loss at $18.5 and a target price of $20.3. To refine the strategy, we can implement a tiered approach. The initial long position can be entered at $19.2, with a stop loss at $18.7, targeting $20.3. If the price reaches the target, a portion of the position can be secured, and a new long position can be initiated at $19.4, with a stop loss at $19.1, aiming for $19.8. This allows for capturing further upside potential while mitigating risk. The overall portfolio should allocate 60% to this strategy due to its strong potential for high returns, and the remaining 40% can be diversified into other assets. Based on the historical data and forecast, EOS exhibits a downtrend followed by a potential recovery. The RSI consistently fluctuates around the mid-range, indicating neither strong overbought nor oversold conditions. However, the Bollinger Bands show that the price has been oscillating within a defined range, suggesting potential for short-term volatility. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position strategy when the price touches the support level of $0.59. The entry price will be $0.59. To manage risk, set a stop-loss order at $0.57, which is slightly below the support level. For the target price, I aim for $0.65, aligning with the upper end of the recent trading range and a reasonable profit margin. To refine this strategy, I will incorporate the RSI and Bollinger Band signals. If the RSI falls below 40 near the support level of $0.59, confirming an oversold condition, it strengthens the long position. Simultaneously, if the price touches the lower Bollinger Band around $0.52, it further validates the opportunity. In this scenario, the entry price will be $0.52. The stop loss will be set at $0.50, and the target price will be $0.65. This combined approach leverages both momentum and volatility indicators for enhanced decision-making and risk management. Based on the historical data and forecast, Near Protocol shows a slight upward trend with fluctuations. The RSI consistently remained below 50, indicating a generally oversold condition, with dips below 30. The Bollinger Bands show that the price has been fluctuating within the bands, suggesting volatility. Considering these factors, I recommend a strategy that combines RSI and Bollinger Bands for optimal returns. The initial entry point should be at $2.08, coinciding with the start of the forecast period and a relatively oversold RSI of 32.4. A stop loss should be placed just below the support level at $1.97 to mitigate potential losses. The target price for this trade will be $2.23, aligning with the forecast high and the upper Bollinger Band. The RSI is expected to rise, potentially approaching the overbought level of 80. To refine this strategy, we can implement a trailing stop loss, adjusting the stop loss upwards as the price increases, securing profits while allowing for continued upside potential. This approach combines the momentum of the upward trend, the oversold condition indicated by the RSI, and the volatility reflected in the Bollinger Bands, creating a high-return investment opportunity with defined risk parameters. The initial portfolio allocation should be 60% of the total capital for Near Protocol. Based on the historical data and forecast, THORChain exhibits an overall upward trend, supported by consistently testing the $1.1 support level and showing a gradual increase in price. The RSI values fluctuate between 34.1 and 55.2, indicating periods of both oversold and overbought conditions. The Bollinger Bands show that the price has been relatively contained within the bands, with occasional touches of the upper and lower limits. Considering these factors, I propose a combined strategy utilizing RSI and Bollinger Bands to maximize potential returns. The forecast data suggests a continued upward trajectory, with prices expected to reach $1.23. My strategy involves a long position with an entry price of $1.15. The stop loss will be set at $1.09, slightly below the support level of $1.1, to mitigate potential losses. The initial target price will be $1.23, aligning with the forecast data and the resistance level. If the price reaches $1.23, I will move the stop loss to break even at $1.15 and set a secondary target price of $1.3. This strategy leverages the upward trend, RSI signals, and Bollinger Bands to capture potential gains while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Render demonstrates a clear upward trend. The price has consistently moved above the Bollinger Band center, indicating bullish momentum. The RSI values, while fluctuating, have generally remained above 50, further confirming the bullish sentiment. The forecast for the next week projects continued price increases, reaching $4.56. Considering these factors, I recommend a long position strategy. We will enter a long position at $4.06, placing a stop-loss order at $3.85 to mitigate potential losses. The initial target price will be $4.5, aiming to capitalize on the predicted upward movement. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate RSI levels. If the RSI dips below 30, signaling an oversold condition, we'll enter a long position at the prevailing price with a stop-loss at $0.95 below the entry price. Conversely, if the RSI exceeds 70, indicating an overbought condition, we will consider exiting the position or tightening the stop-loss. The final target price will be $4.8, allowing for potential gains beyond the initial forecast. This combined approach, leveraging both Bollinger Bands and RSI, aims to maximize returns while effectively managing risk. Based on the historical data and forecast, Aptos shows a generally upward trend, supported by the consistently rising forecast prices and the price action within the Bollinger Bands. The RSI indicates oversold conditions initially, but has been trending upwards, suggesting increasing momentum. Given the support level at $4.59 and the forecast predicting prices above $4.73, a long position is warranted. We will implement a strategy that combines RSI and Bollinger Band signals. The entry price will be $4.73, coinciding with the initial forecast price and a potential bounce from a slight dip. A stop-loss will be set at $4.59, just below the established support level, to mitigate potential losses. The initial target price will be $5.06, aligning with the forecast high for the week and a reasonable profit target based on the recent price action. To refine the strategy, we'll incorporate Bollinger Bands. If the price touches the lower band, we will enter a long position at $4.73. The stop-loss remains at $4.59. We will set a first target price at $4.97, corresponding to the upper Bollinger Band for the week. If the price reaches this target, we will move the stop-loss to the entry price of $4.73 to secure profits. The second target price will be $5.06, aligning with the forecast high. This combined strategy leverages both momentum indicators and price action within the Bollinger Bands to maximize potential returns while managing risk effectively. Based on the historical data and forecast, Pyth network demonstrates a slight upward trend. The price has been fluctuating within a range between $0.115 and $0.145, with the support price consistently at $0.137 and the resistance at $0.156. The RSI indicator has been mostly below 50, indicating that the asset is generally oversold. Considering the forecast data, the price is expected to continue its upward trajectory, potentially reaching the resistance level. I recommend a long position strategy. We will enter a long position at $0.132. The stop-loss will be set at $0.13 to protect against potential downside risks. The initial target price will be $0.143, aligning with the forecast high. To refine the strategy, we'll incorporate Bollinger Bands. The price has been frequently touching the lower band, suggesting potential for a bounce. If the price breaks above the upper band, it signals a strong bullish momentum. I suggest a tiered target approach. First target at $0.143, then adjust the stop-loss to $0.133 after reaching the first target. If the price continues to rise, the second target will be $0.148, and the stop-loss will be adjusted to $0.135. This dynamic approach allows us to capitalize on the upward trend while mitigating risks. The portfolio will be 60% based on the RSI strategy and 40% based on the Bollinger Band strategy for optimal efficiency. Based on the historical data and forecast, Stack shows a slightly upward trend. The RSI consistently stays below 80, indicating it's not overbought, and frequently dips below 40, suggesting potential oversold conditions. The Bollinger Bands indicate periods of volatility, with prices occasionally touching the lower band. Considering this, I recommend a long position strategy focusing on capitalizing on potential bounces from oversold conditions. Specifically, when the RSI falls below 35, enter a long position at 0.577 plus $. Set a stop loss at 0.535 plus $, to protect against a further decline. The initial target price should be 0.647 plus $, aiming to capture a significant portion of the recent upward movement. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate the Bollinger Bands. When the price touches the lower band, it's a strong indicator of a potential oversold condition. If the RSI is below 35 and the price is near the lower Bollinger Band, enter a long position at 0.577 plus $. Place a stop loss at 0.535 plus $. For a more aggressive approach, consider a second target price of 0.645 plus $, aligning with the forecast data. This combined RSI and Bollinger Band strategy offers a robust approach to high-return investment, balancing risk and potential reward. Based on the historical data and forecast, Artificial Superintelligence Alliance shows a clear upward trend. The price has been steadily increasing from $0.393 to a forecast of $0.62. The RSI indicates that the asset is currently approaching overbought territory, but hasn't crossed the 80 threshold. Considering the recent price action and the forecast, I recommend a long position. Entry price will be $0.517, with a stop loss set at $0.486, just below the Bollinger Band's lower band. The initial target price will be $0.604, aligning with the forecast for April 23, 2025. To refine the strategy, we'll incorporate the Bollinger Bands for dynamic adjustments. If the price breaks above the upper Bollinger Band, we will raise the target price to $0.62. Conversely, if the price falls below the lower Bollinger Band, we will adjust the stop loss to $0.562, aligning with the support level. This adaptive approach allows us to capitalize on the upward trend while mitigating potential losses. The RSI reading suggests that a pullback is possible, so the stop loss strategy is crucial. The portfolio will prioritize the long position with dynamic adjustments based on Bollinger Bands and RSI signals. Based on the historical data and forecast, Wormhole exhibits a fluctuating trend with periods of consolidation. The RSI consistently remains below the 50 mark, indicating a generally weak momentum. However, the recent upward trend in the forecast prices, coupled with the RSI nearing 50, suggests a potential shift towards a bullish outlook. Considering the support level at $0.07 and the Bollinger Bands, a strategy combining RSI and Bollinger Bands is recommended. We will initiate a long position when the RSI crosses above 30 and the price touches the lower Bollinger Band. The entry price will be $0.0616, with a stop loss set at $0.061 to mitigate potential losses. The target price will be $0.0795, based on the forecast price and the upper Bollinger Band. To optimize the portfolio, we will allocate 60% of the capital to this long strategy, capitalizing on the anticipated upward movement. The remaining 40% will be held in cash, providing flexibility to adjust the position based on evolving market conditions. This diversified approach balances potential gains with risk management, ensuring a robust investment strategy for Wormhole. The strategy aims to capture short-term price appreciation while maintaining a safety net through the stop-loss mechanism and a portion of the capital reserved for future opportunities. Based on the historical data and forecast, Bittensor exhibits a strong upward trend. The price has consistently broken through resistance levels and the forecast for the next week predicts continued growth, reaching $342. The RSI values, while fluctuating, have generally been increasing, indicating strengthening momentum. Considering the support at $293 and resistance at $352, combined with the upward trend, I recommend a long position strategy. Entry price will be $277, with a stop-loss set at $293 to protect against a potential downturn. The initial target price is $311, aligning with the forecast for April 22, 2025. To refine this strategy, we'll incorporate the Bollinger Bands. The price consistently trades within the bands, suggesting periods of consolidation. We'll use the RSI to fine-tune our entry and exit points. If the RSI falls below 20, indicating an oversold condition, we will enter a long position at $173, setting a stop-loss at $183 and a target price of $230. Conversely, if the RSI exceeds 80, signaling an overbought condition, we will consider exiting the position or tightening stop-loss orders. Given the prevailing upward trend and positive forecast, the primary strategy of entering at $277, with a stop-loss at $293 and a target of $311 remains the most efficient approach for high returns.